Firstly, I want to offer my condolences to family members of people lost in the tragedy that was the Orlando shootings recently. My heart and my prayers go out to anybody that has suffered a loss in recent events such as this. I would like to understand with your help how this came about. Questions should be answered, and if you are watching this from America, you may well, more than I, be able to give some insight into how things are. Obviously, we are all aware of what happened and we are searching for answers via social media and other outlets that you may have at your disposal. I like to ask questions as to why things happen. I like to look past the media reports. I also want to understand and want you to help me. If you have answers to what I am about to present, please feel free to answer them in the comments below. Many of you already know some of the facts that I'm about to present, but I started this channel so I could look at things from a different angle, and here we go. Investigators have confirmed that the guns, or one of the guns used in the attack, was an AR-15, and yes, I know we all know that, but I know nothing about guns. What I know about guns you couldn't even see if it was written down. But the AR-15, as stated on website vox.com, it is a military style rifle that is available to civilians, and it is based on the M16, which was designed for combat in Vietnam. Why? Why is something so dangerous and so destructive in its power available to anyone? Now, since 2009, gun manufacturers like calling these guns modern sporting rifles, which in my little mind is aimed at people hunting in the woods. But if I'm wrong, please tell me in the comments below. Now, since the federal assault weapons ban expired in 2004, AR-15 style rifles and guns like it, like the one used in the Orlando shooting, have apparently become popular. But my question is this: why wasn't the ban reviewed or even renewed? Josh Koskoff of Koskoff and Bider, who represents plaintiffs in a lawsuit against Bushmaster Firearms, maker of the rifle in the Sandy Hook tragedy, said the gun industry pretends the civilian AR-15 is vastly different than the military version because it does not have selective fire. He goes on to say, "This is a charade. The industry knows the weapon is most lethal in semi-automatic, one shot, one kill, yet these companies continue to sell to the civilians, abandoning reason in exchange for profit." But what baffles me more is that the FBI and the media are reporting that the FBI knew that Mateen was known to have links to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. Back in 2013, he came to the attention of the FBI when he was reported to have said he had connections to overseas terrorists and hoped that the FBI would raid his family's home so that he would be made a martyr. As a result of this, the FBI put him on a watch list for about a year. Now, in 2014, 2 months after bombing in Syria by Monet Mohammed Abu Salah, Mateen popped up again. So he had been interviewed 3 times by the FBI. Now, bearing in mind they had a good enough reason to pull him in, they still done nothing. These are highly trained agents who couldn't tell nothing was wrong. Even after all this, he was still allowed to buy 2 weapons. Now, without knowing which state he obtained the rifle, it's hard to say what scrutiny he was put under when he purchased it, or even if he did buy it himself. But in Florida, I have found people buying a gun don't need a license to own or buy a rifle, shotgun or handgun. You must fill out an ID form and pay $8 for a background check. However, there is a thing known as gun show loophole, and most states do not require background checks for firearms purchased at a gun show from private sellers. If this is how Mateen bought the gun, surely this needs to be changed. If he did have a background check, why didn't it flag up that he'd been interviewed by the FBI, and for what grounds? Do the FBI not make records of interviews, and why they detain people for questioning? If you know the answer to this, please comment in the box below. Now, Donald Trump has come out saying he owes his changed stance on assault weapons ban to the nation's need for protection. I quote, "I changed positions because we need protection in this country. We need protection. We have to have protection, and the bad guys have them. So if the bad guys have them, we need protection in this country." End quote. Let me just say this, you will never ever cure a problem by adding to it. If a mind is weaponized, you will never cure the problem by weaponizing your own mind in turn. Peace promotes peace. Weapons in all walks of life should strictly be controlled and regulated. Australia did it and it worked. Anything with repetitive fire should be banned, in my opinion. If this was in place and Mateen could only get hold of a handgun, there would have been more chance of him being stopped if he had to stop firing and reload. But this does not seem to be an option in America, certainly if you take the words of Donald Trump and the fact that ISIS again has been connected. Now, I don't have the footage, but before the facts were released, a Sky News reporter insinuated that it was a terrorist attack by a Muslim. The use of terrorism is being manipulated by governments to keep us in check. They want to keep the fear going. I have said once and I will say again, how does a bully control his victim? Now, you can harp on about false flags and the fact that Mateen was indirectly connected to the CIA. Damn, I've spent the last 5 years opening my mind to this stuff. Owen Jones, who recently walked off Sky News, is right. It was simply an LGBT orientated attack. The fact that he was a Muslim got the government and the security forces pissing in their pants by the fact that they have another screw to tighten on the grip of fear. The fear of terrorism is far reaching no matter where it is. So it puts us on our back heels in the UK as well. Something like this may happen, or the fear will be stepped up, or our terror alert will be stepped up here in the UK. Now, here comes a short video on gun crime in America with regards to Muslim terror attacks. Scary, isn't it? But just two perpetrated by Muslim terrorists. What you have to ask now is, why is Trump so insistent on banning Muslims, and why are our governments, all of them, so insistent in creating fear with regards to terrorists? Why? Take a look at this video and you will find out what little old me found out about Tony Blair and weapons, and who profits from the terror attacks, which enables our governments to go to war. The evidence is there, folks. You just have to look for it. Be safe.